George Takei is in this one. I don't ever remember him laughing like that, but everybody does that in the impression. So, but okay, we'll of course get to him in a second. This is the episode called Imprisoned. God, that's a much easier to say title. You know, so many of these titles are like, The Legend of Cubby Bobby or The Temple of Huhutika. So it's nice just Imprisoned. Short, easy. Alright, so this episode, for those who don't know, or even if you do know, just a reminder, pretty much they go to a place where they find this boy who can earthbend, and it's in a land where it's forbidden because it's taken over by the Fire Nation. They don't want anyone to do any of this, any bending whatsoever, and I guess the main focus of this world is, or this land is earthbending. And they find this boy who's doing earthbending, and, oh, now I'm forgetting how to say her name. Katara? Is that? Yeah, Katana Kantara. That's how I remember it. Okay, so she befriends this boy, and is telling him not to be ashamed of his powers, and he uses it to save a guy from getting crushed, and the guy turns him in. I love that. I love it when even the person being saved is like, oh, I still got my ethics, I know this is wrong. So they think their ethics are in the right place, but they're totally skewed. So they go to this prison. Again, great design for this prison. I love it. And Katara's going to sneak in or get herself captured through a very funny scene. I think a lot of the humor in this is kind of getting better. The last episode was kind of weak, but the humor in this one is better. And she gets herself tossed in and tries to save him, but on top of that, save his father and encourage the people to fight back, because all the prisoners in this world are pretty much like just beaten. They're waiting for, either something to happen or just death take them. And what I really like about it, the two things I really like about this episode, one is, of course, George Takei as as one of the prison guards, or as, like, the guy in charge of the prison, which is just great, because it's, we know him so much for comedy now, but I like the fact that this performance is sort of it's a good mix of comedy and intimidation. He actually can be a little intimidating, which I enjoy, but it levels out, just right. Like, there's a guy who is questioning him, and he throws him over the edge, and he says, alert the captain of my orders, and guard says, that was the captain. He says, oh, well, alert somebody I haven't thrown overboard, and that's a good joke. But it also shows how threatening he can be, too, that he would just throw a person over like that, and he has his nice, long-winded speeches, about how great he is and how pathetic you are, so you can totally tell he's just soaking up that role, and it's a lot of fun. It never quite goes too far over the top. It's just the right mix. And the other moment I really like, I like the moment where, well, first of all, it's very much a Katara episode, which is nice. And not that she hasn't been doing stuff in the other episodes, but it's nice to have one where she really sort of saves the day in this one. She really rallies people together. And I love the way they get out with the coal and how they shut off the... I love that ingenuity. I love that creativity. And it's so smart. And just the abilities they have and how they incorporate them into the world. But she gets up there, she makes this great big speech to these prisoners, saying, really fight now, because there will not be another time. You only get one life. Go out there, be who you are and stuff like that. And it's sort of building up to a dumbbell joke, like they're not going to do anything or they're just going to roll their eyes or laugh or something like that. But what I like about the scene is that it isn't just... a wah-wah joke. You don't hear that stupid whistle. I hate that stupid whistle, if I haven't said before, by the way. It's like the wow. I hate that whistle. It is not needed. I know they're doing a new series now, so just keep that whistle out if you can. But it's actually a legitimately sad scene. They don't even have the energy or, the influence or just any amount of caring to even acknowledge her, to even roll their eyes or say, no, you're silly, don't even do... I mean, the most they do is turn their heads and look at her, and when she's done, they just turn back. And there's such a sadness to that. And not just for her being rejected, but for these people, because it's just so been beaten out of them. And it happens twice, too, which I like. And then finally when, one does fight back and then another fights back and so on and so forth, it makes sense because, it's the boy who fights back and then the father, and then you see them rally behind those two because they know those two and like those two, or at least know the father and obviously the son now. So it makes a little bit more sense. It isn't just like a random, yeah, let's just, what the heck, Deus Ex Machina, sort of thing. It actually does have a legit build-up to it. So I really enjoy that. Again, this is a really good, it's another really good, strong episode. And the comedy's much better. With the kid, is it Sokka? Is that the kid's name? I always call him the brother. I'm getting these names down. I'm trying to get them down. Stupid white American, if it's a name that's not my language, I'm like, Dahi? So, apologies for that. Somebody make a still of that face I just made. I'm sure it's funny. So, a lot of people have been saying, like, come on, lay off this kid. Come on, he's not that bad. He's not that bad. And let's just make something clear. The voice actor is fine. The voice actor is actually a little too good, in my opinion, because a lot of times, like, particularly in the first couple episodes, it's like, a lot of the lines he's saying, I'm like, well, that's not a funny line, but he's kind of saying it funny, like, in fact, his delivery is so good, I want a stronger punchline at the end of the sentence, because he says in a way where it's building, and then there's not much of a payoff. But he's getting, the character's getting funnier. In this one, there were some really good, legit, funny moments, particularly when they're trying to fake the earth bending. I thought was very humorous. Or in the opening where he has the rocks, and he suggests that they eat rocks. Or no, not rocks, nuts. And they finds a rock that he thinks is a nut, a very rock-looking nut that is most likely a rock. I mean, that stuff's great. So it seems like that's getting better, which is good, because in the last episode, I mean, not that it was entirely not funny, but I was sort of like, okay, so was the episode before that just kind of a fluke, with the good humor starting to come up? No, it still seems like they got some really funny moments. I see a lot of people, like, saying, oh, wait till you see the cabbage guy. I'm like, cabbage guy? And then I realized it must have been the episode before, this guy just shouting, my cabbage! And I don't know if he comes back, but I thought the foaming mouth guy was funnier. I love the fact the show has, memes are cabbage guy and foaming mouth guy. I think that's hilarious. But now I'm really getting off track here. So another great episode. I love at the end when the prince comes in and is on their track, and you sort of forget about it. It's like, oh yeah, him, and then it's like, oh no, he's on their trail. And so, again, however they do it, it sucks you in, and I like getting sucked in by this world and these characters. And it's a fun world and fun characters to get sucked into. It's not like Game of Thrones, and I love Game of Thrones, I still love it, but where it's something like, oh, let me get sucked in so I can be incredibly depressed, and just be like, God, please, just somebody win something. I like this world because I like seeing them win. I like seeing them succeed, and I like seeing them get closer, but they still had to get through these obstacles, and they're good obstacles, and they're good villains, and all that good stuff. So, again, I'm just going over the show in general. Another great episode. Really enjoy it. We'll see you in the next one.